Hello everybody, Road Warrior 627 here with another big preview for a bunch of big races Saturday, November the 3rd, down at Churchill Downs. We're going to preview 5 races of the Breeders' Cup, more specifically the last 5 on Friday. We've got the sprint, we've got the mile, we've got the distaff, we've got the turf, and we got the classic races 7 through 11 on the card. But I can't do it alone here. Joining me today is the wonder kid of horse racing, Sammy the Beast.
To make a correction, it's actually Saturday, not Friday. They changed it up to Stars Future Day, but that's actually pretty stupid. They should just, not to lie, they should just put 14 Breeders' Cup races on one card. That'll be the best card in history, but just Saturday.
I don't think it should be 14 races. I think they should bring it back to the original 7. I don't like all these races.
No, but
I think
the
they
14
ruined
on one
some
card
of the
would be
bigger
the
races.
most greatest card of history, and then all the undercards could be on the Friday card, and that'd be fine.
That's true too. It's not. I agree that it should only be one day. I hate the 2 days. I think it's too much.
All right.
I think one day would be better. All right. So we're gonna ready to go.
We're gonna start with the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And it is, I'm looking on my app right now. Post time is going to probably be around 2:40 something.
Yeah, we've going.
Maybe the post time for the sprint is at 2:46, and it's $2 million on 6 furlongs on the dirt for 3-year-olds and upwards.
Very
Andrew,
good. And now, the sprint. We've got 6 furlongs on the dirt, and I personally think Imperial Hint is going to gallop them to death. The only concern with Imperial Hint to me is that he hasn't gotten the most out of his last 2 races. They've been so easy. Has he really taken anything away from them? Although I think he's just too good. If you want to play against him, that's the reason why I'm going to leave him on top. Behind him, I have Limousine Liberal, who had trouble in the Phoenix, but still finished well. He loves Churchill Downs, and he was 5 wide in the Forego against the track bias up at Saratoga. Very favorable inside speed track, so he was all the way outside. That might have hurt him. Roy H. is my 3rd selection, the 9. He's gotten good trips as the defending champ. He's still a great horse. We'll stick him in there. And then Promises Fulfilled. He'll probably go to the lead. I see him getting caught in the last furlong. So 5, 8, 9, 2 for me in the sprint.
My Breeders' Cup Sprint picks is the 5, Little Rocket Ship for Luis Carjava. What is it, Caravaggio Jr.?
Carjaval? I have no idea what the hell his name is.
Parks and Monmouth base trainer. Javier Castellano is on top, is on the tap. The thing that scares me is how bad he ran at Churchill last time. He could have ran much better.
I agree with that.
When I looked on the paper, he's 3 for 4 on the wet, and that kind of scares me a little bit. But he's just been too impressive in these last 2 starts. If you just ask him one bit, he'll start flying. That's why he's Little Rocket Ship. And I think he's going to win this race very easily. I'm going to say if he just gaps maybe a length, but if Castellano asks him maybe 5 or 6 lengths. I have Imperial Hint on top. Then I have your Fountain of Youth winner, Promises Fulfilled, when it finally got the sprint, when it finally got the opportunity to run the sprint in the Allen Jerkins, I believe it was. It just ran so good. Just couldn't last the Derby. Just couldn't last anything in the long distance races. But when it came back to the short race, it ran fantastic, and he's been very good. So, and I think Imperial Hint's going to catch him in the last furlong and win this race easily. Your defending champ, Roy H. 3rd, who ran very good won the race last year, who my dad picked. I picked Little Rocket Ship, Imperial Hint. The 9 ran good. New jockey, Paco Lopez, but I just don't see him doing anything. These 2, Promise Fulfilled and Imperial Hint, are just much better than this horse. And then Limousine Liberal, who should have beat Whitmore, but just Jose Ortiz put it on the outside instead of the inside, cost him the race. But I have 5, 2, 9, 8 in the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
All right, very good. So that's the 7th race, the sprint. The next race is the mile. Mile on the grass, 2 turns on what will probably either be a good or a yielding turf course, because there is rain. There's rain today, and there might be a little bit more. So it's probably not going to be a firm turf course. Regardless, I'm going to handicap the race as if we're not worrying about it, just because I did this the last 2 days, and I'm not changing my picks now. So with that being said, I'm gonna have a double 5-5. I'm gonna put Oscar Performance on top. He's consistent, and he might not be too bad a price in a wide open race. I believe he's 6-1 on the morning line. I'll gladly take that. Analyze It loves to run second. I'll put him in second again. The only thing I can say is he's lucky he's not facing Catholic Boy again. Poly Dream is my third selection. I believe that's what it is. Yep, Poly Dream to me is the best Euro in this field. One of the fillies in the field. And had trouble last time out across the pond. And Catapult, the 10, has the figs and has improved with John Sadler. Didn't do any running for Chad Brown, but Sadler's gotten some good running out of this horse. So 5, 12, 4, and 10 in the Breeders' Cup Mile.
The mic is a little messed up, but I think it's fine. Anyway, next thing you'll see on Friday afternoon, they're off the turf on Breeders' Cup, and it'll be on the dirt for the turf. Just watch that happen. But anyway, I like Oscar Performance, who is somehow 6-1, who should be the morning line favorite.
I agree.
But is not.
I agree. I think he should be the favorite.
No, the 4 is. A great, probably the best betting race of the day at Churchill Downs. That's your morning line favorite. Is 5-1. I like Oscar Performance. Just didn't do anything in Arlington Milling. Got pulled up when it returned to Woodbine Mile. It just ran excellent. And Jose Ortiz stays on this horse. And I think it will run a very good race, and I think it's so good that it'll win this race. Second, I have Next Sharers, who should definitely not be 10-1 after that great performance at 23-1 in the Shadwell Turf race, I believe it was.
Shadwell Turf Mile.
And Analyze It is literally 6-1, and Next Year, and he came fourth, and Next Year's won that race. So I think Next Year is going to run second with Red Hot Tyler Gaffleone. Richard Baltus is their trainer. I think he's going to run second. Third, I have Catapult, who ran very good in the Del Mar Mile Grade 2 event when Drayden Van Dyke won 7 races on the card. John Sadler is your trainer, 6-1 morning line with Drayden Van Dyke. I think we'll run third. Just won't be able to beat these two good horses. And then the 12, Analyze It. Chad Brown, I rather teach just the connections, and had a couple good races this year. The only thing that worries me about the 2 in this race, who I've second, is that it could just been a fluke that race, and he just went gate to wire. And today he faces much more competitive fields, and it'll be harder for him to run today. And that's my only negative about the 2, but I still think he's just gonna run a very good race and try to go gate to wire, but will just come short to late closing Oscar Performance in the Breeders' Cup Mile on the turf, 1 mile.
Okay, anyway, let's move on to race number 9, which is the Breeders' Cup Distaff. I am very happy they're finally running this race back on the Saturday card. It's a race that deserves to be run. Now, the only thing that would make it better is if they brought it back to 1.25 miles. I'd love if they ran this at 10 furlongs like they used to, but
it is a
they'll
mile
never do
and
that.
For $2 million for dirt for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Should we go through the field or not?
I'm not going through any fields. I think if you want, I'm going to leave a link to all the entries in the description. I'll even leave a link to the past performances
we'll go over the,
on DRF.
Classic, because
sure.
That's the best race, in my opinion, of the year. Anyway, in the distaff, Andrew, your thoughts on this race first.
I'm going with Baffert in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. That's right, I'm going with Abel. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going with Vale Dory, the 8. Yeah, Baffert's other horse. You got it.
I think it's going to be a fluke. And that horse just, Abel Tasman, that was just rigged, in my opinion. And I think
so, too. But I don't see why Baffert wouldn't do it again. Look. If Abel Tasman really had something wrong with her, right? Vale Dory is still a millionaire, is still a multiple graded stakes winner, and she destroyed Abel Tasman, who should have ran better no matter what was wrong with her. She just ran so badly last time, and yes, I do have the Baffert exact. I do have Abel Tasman improving back to second. I have no idea what happened last time, but I'm sure Baffert can get her up there. Behind the 11, Monomoy Girl, who's had one hell of a year. She was rightfully DQ'd last time. I did think Midnight Beazle would have gone by without the interference. but still ran a
True.
great race last time. And
And I was really mad because I was at Parks that day, my home track. I was there.
yeah. And for fourth, Wonder Gadut has had a lot of trouble lately. Still has enough talent to get in there, and you're getting a decent price at 15-1. So I have her closing in on the Super.
My thoughts on the distaff. I picked her all year round since that grade 2 at Finger Lake Fairgrounds. Finger Lakes is crap, but they would never have a grade 2. At Fairgrounds, I picked her there. She won that race. I picked her in the Ashland. She won that. I picked her in the Oaks. She won that. Picked her in the Acorn. She won that. I picked her in the CCAO.
She won that.
And then she got DQ'd.
Yep.
On the second time I see that horse, she got DQ'd. I was mad because I didn't see anything when you were live. You couldn't see anything, but when I watched the replay and I saw that horse would have passed it, I was that was right. That's Midnight Pursuit probably would have won by 3/4 of a length.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm still picking Monoma Girl. I think the shortening up a distance will help her. Didn't they go longer in the cotillion?
Cotillion was no. I think this is Cotillion was a mile and a 16th. It was either a mile and a 16th or a mile and an 1/8. It's not longer. It's not shorter, I should say. This is not shortening up. It's either the same. I forgot what the Cotillion was.
But I just still think she's just still improving, and if she runs next year, she's gonna be a machine. And we can all agree on that, even Andrew.
Absolutely. She shows her best, she wins. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen.
It's probably going to happen, Andrew. Monoma Girl, I just think she's too good. She's too talented. I was thinking about, in the cotillion, I was thinking about taking a price about her, but I just thought, nah, I don't think anybody's going to beat her. I was asking people all around at Parks, could Monoma Girl lose? They're like, no, she'll crush the field. Which... I just think that's going to happen today. She's still improving, and I think she's going to do that again. But second, I have the 7 Midnight Pursuit with John Velasquez, Johnny V. Same post as the cotillion. I just think it's got the perfect trip in the cotillion. But, Monoma Girl, I still think it's going to beat her. I'm going to guess Monoma Girl will win this race by, you probably agree, maybe a length and 3/4, a length and a half.
If she shows up with her best.
I don't think she'll do what she did in the Ashland when by eat for fun. She won't do that today. She will. Third, I have.
Not happening.
Wildcat.
Not with Baffert in this race.
Jose Ortiz up on this horse who won the Beldam, but that was no April Taff and that was nobody late, and this is just a harder competition. There's just older, talented fillies in that race, and Merrill and maybe April Taff. So I think Wildcat's going to come third, and I have Abel Tasman fourth. I think, according to Baffert, it was a sickness, wasn't real. It still could have showed up for second or third. At least third is better. And 7-2 morning line, not bad, but I just don't think it's going to win this race. Wildcat, what was I going to say about this horse? Nothing. Outside post in the Oaks. People wouldn't like this horse today because it was like, oh, Monoma Girl had an outside post. But I don't even know why Midnight Pursuit was the favorite anyway, but Monoma Girl I don't have any struggles with the left hand post. I actually think it would help her.
Okay.
And part of the reason she probably and the Cotillion, I think part of the reason she lost because she broke from 2. That's not a good post position. So my selections is 11-7, 9-2 in the distaff.
Alright, sounds good. Let us move on now to the 10th race, the penultimate race in our analysis show today. I want to thank everybody for listening. The Breeders' Cup Turf, classic turf distance, 1.5 miles, 3 turns on the Churchill Downs turf course. They'll start on the back stretch.
3 turns? That's so much.
I know. If this was at Belmont, it would only be 2 turns. But no, the Breeders' Cup are a ton of idiots. Anyway.
No, Andrew, the biggest excuse of all time. Andrew, it gets too dark early.
Yeah.
The weather is too cold.
Yeah, it's going to be warmer here on Saturday than it is there. So, not great. Okay. And plus, Kentucky, look, you can have any kind of bad weather at this time of year. The only place you're really guaranteed good weather is out west. But listen, horses should be running on the best track and the best turf course, and to me, that's Belmont, and nobody will change my mind. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. Moving on to the.
I'll go first.
Uh,
Do you want to go over first, or I'll go first?
yeah, we'll switch it up. You may go first, Sammy. Go ahead, give us your thoughts.
And I'll go first for the next race too, as we go through the field for the next race. The 10th race is at post time at 4:56, but if that's the original post time, probably be more like 5:05.
Yeah.
The Longueuil Breeders' Cup Turf, $4 million, the second richest race on the Breeders' Cup weekend card of the 14 races, a mile and a half, and 3 turns on the turf for 3-year-olds and upwards. And I have one thing: Enable will run crap. I was thinking about having her, but like she's improved, but how's she gonna run against this kind of field with 13 horses going? And I just think there's some talented horses that can very well beat her. She'll probably be more like 1-5, but I don't like her. And I have her 4th, but I like Channel Maker, who I picked somebody good. No, I picked Spring Quality in that race. Is that the race Spring Quality came last or 3rd?
Which one? Well, he came in 3rd in the Sword Dancer at Saratoga.
The one that Channel Maker won.
Channel Maker won the Joe Hirsch. Yeah, Spring Quality ran last because he didn't like the turf course. You could tell. But he looked fine. He just didn't handle the turf.
But he won the Belmont race on that turf.
Yeah, the turf that day on Belmont Day was firm. The turf this day was soft. Big difference.
Anyway.
I'm talking about the quality
Channel
of the
Maker,
turf.
even if Spring Quality, the horse should have run last. Not the lot. But Channel Maker, I just think Jose Ortiz and Belmont shit this out for a reason, and it's twin line. I'll take that price. Probably in my guess, but Channel Maker won pretty impressive last time. And I think he's having a Glorious Empire, who won the second one. What? The Sword Dancer won that pretty impressive. Just one gate to wire with Julian Leparoux, 12-1 again. I think these horses could run 1-2 again.
Sword Dancer.
And they didn't race it. They might
Sword
have raced
Dancer.
before, but 12-1, that would pay a lot. It could pay like $200.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I think it can definitely happen too, because jockeys are so stupid sometimes, and they just let these guys walk on the lead, and sure enough, they run wire to wire, just like in that Sword Dancer. That's exactly what they did.
Do you think Neighbor's going to do anything in this race?
I don't actually think the answer to that is no, and the reason is not because of the competition she's meeting. I think the shipping is going to take something out of her, or at least I'm hoping, because if she shows up, we're dead. I'm not making any money in here at all, but I'm just hoping that she's not going to show up. I think we're dead, based off of her talent. Now, the time in the race over in Europe, in New York, wasn't that impressive. But the competition was pretty good. I just think the shipping's going to take something out.
Your ARC winner will run 3rd in this race. He's earned $8 million. You can't complain. This is one of the best horses in the world. There's one horse that I don't think would take anything out of her to win this race. But she wouldn't be able to. If this was a sprint race, the Breeders' Cup Sprint, for like older horses, I think they have a Breeders' Cup Juvenile Sprint, but I don't know if they have an older one. Oh, anyway, but like
they got the turf sprint.
Saying, if Winks was in this race and it was a long horse, I don't think the shipping. The horse is just too good. The shipping would take a little bit out of her, but she has like 20 more percent of Enable 15, so I think would still win this race. Anyway, and 4th I have Robert Bruce, who didn't do anything for me on Belmont Day. Decided to run crap that day, but decides to win the Arlington Million. What great crap! Thank you, Chad. Anyway, the horse ran pretty bad. Ran okay in the last race. Lost to Channel Maker, I believe. Or was it Glorious Empire? I think Glorious Empire. Channel Maker number 8. I think it was like 8. Yeah, I don't. I
Channel
don't know.
Maker.
These
Channel
two, I
Maker.
feel like ran in the same
Channel
race,
Maker.
same
That
kind
was
of
in
horse.
the Joe
Yeah,
Hirsch.
3724. Channel Maker's my top pick in the Breeders' Cup Turf.
From Sammy's fourth pick, Robert Bruce, we go to Robert Bruce, my top pick. See, I had a fine year. Couldn't catch Channel Maker last time, and that was a turf course that was extremely boggy. And when he tried to shift to the outside in the stretch, if you watch the replay of the last race, that's when he lost all of his momentum. If he was able to keep his position, of course, Channel Maker was in that position, so he had to try and go around. I think he might have been able to catch him because he was making up ground until he had to shift to the outside. That was the first day that the rails were down at Belmont the whole meet, which made the inside the right place to be. So I'm going to take Robert Bruce to flip the switch on Channel Maker this time, and I got Channel Maker, the 3-second, who wired the field in that race, and was right up there with Glorious Empire the whole way in the Sword Dancer. Third is my European Waldgeist. I got him coming from behind. And then fourth, Glorious Empire. I think he'll sit up there with Channel Maker. And to be quite honest, there's a lot of people that think the pace in this race is going to be fairly honest. I don't. I think they're going to sit out there. Glorious Empire, Channel Maker are going to get it easy. I just don't know if their talent is going to be good enough. I still think Channel Maker's a little bit better, so that's why I have Glorious Empire falling back to fourth, but still holding on for a nice. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we've come to the point where the disparity between the Elgato audio, which was Sammy, and my audio for my microphone, the difference was just simply too much. And if I tried to edit this anymore, my hair would all be out within the hour. So instead, I'm just going to give you my picks for the Breeders' Cup Classic. I want to thank Sammy for joining in the video with me, and I will give his picks as well. In the Breeders' Cup Classic, race number 11, I like Mind Your Biscuits. I'll compare him kind of to Ghost Zapper, not because I think he's nearly as good as Ghost Zapper, but I think he can stretch out from the sprint distances to the 10 furlongs. He's had no problem with the 9, ran good at Saratoga, obviously has a good race over the track, which is awesome. Yoshida, I think it is possibly setting up to be a closer's race. Proves he loved the dirt up at Saratoga. Horses that have exited the Woodward have been running fantastic. It is a very good key race this year. The 7, West Coast, came back to run a good second in the Awesome again, and he's the value over Accelerate. Accelerate showed that he can regress. We don't know if it was just a bounce from the Pacific Classic, but I definitely think that West Coast is the better play, so I have him filling out my triple. And then the 13, Discreet Lover, coming in fourth. Hopefully he can mop up the Super, just like he mopped up the win in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Nice story over there with Discreet Lover. Now moving on to Sammy's picks. He likes the 6 Mackenzie. He's going with Bob Baffert. He's got Bob Baffert 1-3 in this race. Split between them is Mind Your Biscuits, who I just talked about. He likes West Coast in third. In fourth, he's got Roaring Lion, the European Invader, even though he was bred in Kentucky. So he's got him fourth. He's got Accelerate, the favorite, fifth. Expecting him to not bring his A game, but still getting into the top 5. I don't know if there's a super high 5 in this race. Yes, there is. So he's filling out the super high 5. And then my long shot, Discreet Lover, to finish up in 6th place for him. He decided to do 6 picks. Why not? You may as well pick almost half the field in this race. It is an incredibly competitive Breeders' Cup Classic, and I'm sorry that the technical difficulties were just too much to go on, but you guys would have not enjoyed it, I can promise you that much. Now, we also would like to mention we both like Audible coming back in race 2 this Saturday, and I just wanted to point out, I wrote this in my analysis on Twitter, watch out for Sippican Harbor and the Juvenile Fillies on Friday. So with that being said, guys, thank you for listening. Sorry it had to end this way, but you'll definitely hear Sammy in the Cigar Mile preview coming up in November, the end of November. I think that the Cigar Mile is December 1st. That'll be the last horse racing video of the year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you enjoy the next one as well. And as the old OTB saying says, bet with your head, not over it. And as my dad says, pay your bills first. Thank you guys, and enjoy the races.